Dishonored is a game that I admire. No matter what stealth game I'm playing, I'm always comparing it in my head to Dishonored. Well, this might be because I played it first when I was very young and it left an impact on me. However, Dishonored does have very glaring flaws that stop it from reaching that perfection status. Let's take a deep dive into it and see why it fell short. Dishonored's story is set in Dunwall, a city plagued with disease which makes rats volatile and turns people into weepers. In the midst of all of this, Empress Jessamine sends her loyal bodyguard and lover, Corvo, to ask other cities for help.
Corvo, if only there was someone else I trusted to send, so that you could remain near. But there is no one else, and the Spy Master was right to insist that I send you.
The game starts with Corvo's return to Dunwall. He meets Emily, the Empress's daughter, and the Spy Master, who regards that Corvo is early. After talking to the Empress, assassins attack and they kill the Empress, kidnap Emily, and Corvo is framed for the murder. We learn that the Spy Master, now Lord Regent, planned the murder because Dunwall needs harsher rule. After being imprisoned for 6 months, Corvo escapes with the help of loyalists and Samuel. Who takes us to the Hound's pub where we plan our next move and Corvo gets this cool ass mask. When Corvo goes to sleep, he is visited by the Outsider, who gives him powers and this heart, which we will talk about more later, because the Outsider is interested in Corvo's story.
Hello, Corvo. Your life has taken a turn, has it not? The Empress is dead, her precious daughter Emily is lost somewhere in the city, and you will play a pivotal role in the days to come. For this I have chosen you, and drawn you into the void. I am the Outsider, and this is my mark. There are forces in the world and beyond the world, great forces that we can call magic. And now, these forces will serve your will. Use this newfound power, my gift to you. Come find me.
With the Outsider's help, using his powers, Corvo hunts down his enemies, saves Emily,
Corvo? Corvo, it's you! You're wearing a mask to sneak around, aren't you?
and neutralizes the Lord Regent, finally putting an end to his reign.
If I explain, then you will see I am not at fault. My poverty eradication plan was meant to bring prosperity to the city, to rid us of those scoundrels who waste their days in filth and drink, without homes or occupations other than to beg for the coin for which the rest of us toil.
Back with the Loyalists, Corvo celebrates and surprise, surprise!
Attention Dunwall citizens. Do not attempt to interfere with the regular...
Samuel, you move like you've been drinking. Did the poison work its magic? Is he dead?
It better have worked. It cost me a month's profit.
Yes, sir. I believe Corvo has breathed his last. Just as you wanted.
You've done a fine job, then.
Remember, we need the body. If we come forward with the corpse of the man who murdered the Empress, we'll be greeted as heroes.
Yes, it'll grant us legitimacy. We'll be the men who rescued Emily and brought down the Lord Regent and his assassin. You'll see to the body, won't you, Samuel?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry something terrible, Corvo, but I only gave you half the poison. They were watching me and it was all I could think to do. I think you're strong enough to survive that. I'll put you on a raft and then I've got to ship out myself before they find out I've gone against their wishes. Snakes. They'll want to do the same to me as soon as I've outlived my uses. Hopefully you'll wake up and find your way out of this cursed city.
The Loyalists betray Corvo and he is sent to the Flooded District, a sealed area of Dunwall that was flooded a long time ago and now is overrun by Weepers, weird plants, and oh yeah, assassins.
I know a great deal, bodyguard. I recognize those marks on your hand. A gift from your friend. The one who talks to you in the dark. Talks to you when you visit his shrines. I visited those shrines too. And I know what it felt like to shove a blade into your Empress. But I don't know you. Who you are, and who you fight for. You're a mystery. And I can't allow that.
This is Dowd. He killed the Empress and is a very important character when we talk about the DLC, but for now he's not really important for the main story.
Here you are at last, in a ruined and drowning world, held captive by the man who killed your Empress, the assassin Dowd. Your friends poisoned you and dumped your body in the river. Did they do it to protect themselves, so no one would ever know what they'd done? Or was it because they were a single move away from controlling an empire, and they knew you'd never let them manipulate Emily? Maybe none of these. Perhaps that's just the nature of man.
Corvo escapes imprisonment again and goes back to the Hound's Pub. At the Hound's Pub, we use some sort of device to knock everybody out, and we go on one last boat ride with Samuel.
This is it, sir. I suspect Havelock Martin and Lord Pendleton landed there a while ago and went into the lighthouse. Knowing them, they're not giving up without a fight. I remember hearing the Admiral and Martin talking about this place as where they'd hold up if they had to. Anybody going in has to breach the fort, the gatehouse, and there's only one way to the top. All I can say is it has been a pleasure serving with you. Maybe after all this is settled, we'll see each other again. Good luck, Corvo. If anyone deserves it, you do.
Corvo fights his way up the watchtower, kills the Loyalists, and finally saves Emily for the last time, or last time until Dishonored 2, and we get this ending.
So ends the interregnum, and now Emily Caldwin I will take her mother's throne after a season of turmoil. You will stand at her side, Corvo, guiding her young mind and protecting her from those who seek to exploit her or cause her harm. You watched and listened when other men would have shouted in rage. You held back instead of striking. So it is, with the passing of the plague and Emily's ascension, comes a golden age, brought about by your hand. And decades hence, when your hair turns white and you pass from this world, Empress Emily, Emily the Wise, at the height of her power, will lay your body down within her mother's great tomb, because you are more to her than royal protector. Farewell, Corvo.
Now, this is one ending out of 3. This is the low chaos ending, where everything is fine and good and happy. The other one is a high chaos ending, where basically everything is destroyed, the city is still plagued, and everybody dies, even Samuel dies, but Emily's still alive. And the third ending is where Emily dies, so like everything goes to shit, everybody's dead, Corvo leaves the city, it's a horrible ending. Now, this game's story isn't exactly what you call a masterpiece. It has a lot of flaws. First of all, it's not that complex, like you can probably guess what will happen next in the events of the game. Secondly, The voice acting in this game is just horrid. It's horrible. Like, if this wasn't a 12-year-old game, I'd probably say it was made by AI, but it wasn't, obviously, so yeah, it's bad.
You do not fail to impress. Armed with a blade, you've changed the course of the city forever. And with the Pendleton twins gone, our own Lord Pendleton will assume their votes in Parliament.
Also, the fact that Corvo doesn't speak is so annoying to me, because when you have a silent protagonist, it's to immerse the player and so that the player can feel that he is the character. But Corvo still has dialogue you can choose between and still does animations on his own, so he has personality. Just give him voice acting. What really elevates the story for me is just looking beneath the surface, lurking in the shadows, finding secret conversations, hidden characters and notes, and most importantly, the heart. At face value, the heart is used to find ruins, bone charms and other useful stuff, but if you interact with it, a lot of lore comes out. Honestly, if you've played this game before without knowing this detail, you have to replay it. It changes the whole story. For example, in the second mission of the game, we meet the Overseers. They are a religious group that hunts down followers of the Outsider, which in this case includes Corvo. By looking around for notes, we find out that all Overseers have 7 commandments they have to follow. Breaking any one of these 7 commandments may lead to you being branded as a heretic and thrown in the Flooded District. And when I say branded, I mean... Now, if you use the heart while looking at the High Overseer, who is their leader, you hear this.
Campbell breaks all 7 strictures each day. It's his own little joke.
You could have missed all of this information if you didn't look around, but if you did, you are rewarded with a non-lethal way of taking him out. By branding him a heretic, he is thrown into the Flooded District, neutralizing him without killing. And the game is full of stuff like this. It is jam-packed with secret information you can find out, which help in the non-lethal way, which leads to the low chaos ending. But it's time we talk about the chaos system, since it is just a chaos system, not a morality system. Since every single non-lethal way of taking out a target is pretty much worse than death. For example, branding the High Overseer. Another one is kidnapping a highborn lady and giving her up to one of her admirers, which won't end well.
Oh, my love, someday you will understand. You'll never know how happy you've made me. Someday she'll learn to appreciate me. After all, she'll have her whole life.
With all the problems with the story, it's time for the game to redeem itself with the most important section of any game.
It dies.
Now, the gameplay in Dishonored is undoubtedly focused on stealth. You can crouch, sneak up on enemies and either execute them or choke them out. Simple and plain. You can also lean left or right to see around corners, just what you expect from a stealth game, but with added details in the animation and really clean animations at that. But a part of being stealthy is getting caught, and when you get caught, you lead into the action side of Dishonored, which is the dueling. Now, the dueling in this game is a bit finicky. It's not bad, it gets the job done, but it's not good. It needed more time, and I think they just couldn't give it that much time. But at least you have some tools and other stuff to help you with, like bolts, grenades, crossbows, and the Springalizer. Now, you might ask, what is the Springalizer? This is the Springalizer. Another part of Dishonored gameplay is the powers. Since the Outsider gave Corvo his mark, Corvo gains powers. Like Blink, the most important power. This is what makes Dishonored's gameplay smooth. Blinking around, assassinating people, getting around levels, any obstacle you would think is unavoidable or you can't get around, Blink is there to get you around it. There's also Dark Vision, which lets you see enemies through walls. Bend Time, which slows down time for a short period. Wind Blast, which is shit. Possess, which is completely overpowered. I mean, you literally possess your enemies and then use them, which, oh my god. Another power is Devour Rats, which is just disgustingly awesome. Now, all these powers are really cool and everything, but they're nothing if there's no good enemy design to face them with. And honestly, Dishonored provides very good variety in enemies. You have normal sword-wielding enemies, which are fine, but there's also Tallboys, which are robots controlled by humans that fire rockets. They're very cool, but I don't feel like they fit this time period very much. But they do add a fun challenge of trying to figure out how to attack the canisters on their back without alerting them and stuff like that. There are also Weepers, which have late stages of the plague and turns them into mindless zombies which spit bugs at you and deal a lot of damage actually. All of those are okay, but on the other hand, there are amazing enemy designs like Overseers, which have music boxes that turn off your powers and can't use them, which fits with the story since Overseers hunt down followers of the Outsider and stuff like that. But my personal favorites are the Assassins. Doubt gives them powers from the Outsider, which means they have the same powers you do. So they can blink behind you, pull you in, and do other stuff. They also have wrist bows, which are very fun and cool, and it's just really fun fighting them. Overall, Dishonored has a very fun, very fluid gameplay, but it has a big flaw in its gameplay, which is the non-lethal part. As you may have noticed, this game focuses too much on the lethal part. You have enemies dying in a couple of hits when you hit them with swords. All the tools you have except for the sleep darts are lethal. Most powers are lethal, and it just focuses too much on the lethal parts, making you feel like it's almost pushing you towards the bad ending. Which in theory is fun, I just wish they added more ways for you to be non-lethal or more tools for the non-lethal playthrough. Now, where Dishonored absolutely excels is the level design. This game's level design is impeccable. It's perfect, it's amazing, it's the magnum opus of level designs in any game. Honestly, I cannot describe how good this level design is, but I can try. First of all, this art style just complements the destroyed city so nicely. It's perfect. The complete contrast when you go from Bottle Street, a gang-infested dump, to the main street is just amazing. Every interior is very appropriate and is filled with special details for you to find. Another really impressive thing that makes this game feel complete is that any point in the game where you feel stuck or you can't pass this objective or you can't do this, there's always a piece of level design to make you pass this point, like a hidden door or a place to blink onto, a pipe that is leaking outside so you can hop into. All that stuff is just masterful. But to me, the most important part of a level design in this game is how the chaos system affects the level. This is so revolutionary, especially for a 13-year-old game. The more chaos you do and the more bodies you leave lying around, the worse the plague will spread and the worse the level becomes. You see in interiors people hanging themselves, and destroyed buildings are more common, rats are everywhere, and this is all because of what you did. All of this to say that the level design in Dishonored is just masterful. Now that we've covered every aspect of the game, let's give it an overall score. For Dishonored story, I'm giving it a very generous 6 out of 10. I'm sorry, but the terrible voice acting, silent protagonists are too much for me. The only redeeming factor of it is the environmental storytelling, which is amazing. The gameplay gets an 8 out of 10. Very good bases, just not fully developed with non-lethal parts, but the combat is really fun and the exploration, especially with the blink, is amazing. For the level design, this is just the most obvious 10 out of 10 I can give. The level design is perfect, it reacts to the honor level, every level is different than the other, there are interiors that are so amazing with little details for you to find, there are no comments here, it's absolutely perfect. Giving Dishonored an overall ranking of 8 out of 10. Truly one of the best games in the Xbox 360 era of games, and it's the game that makes me feel most like an assassin. No real competition to it in that genre, sorry Assassin's Creed fans, except maybe Dishonored 2, which I hope I'll be covering someday on this channel. But now I would like to go over the DLC of this game, just very quickly, not really in depth. And for me the whole DLC can be covered in one sentence, which is huge leap forward, 2 steps back. Like for the story, we have a huge leap forward that Doubt is a speaking protagonist and is honestly the best part of this DLC.
One more job shouldn't have mattered. I'd killed nobles before. You could float a whaling ship, and the highborn blood I've spilled. Another noble steps in to replace the last one. All equally corrupt. Why should an empress be different? But she was. I watched her bodyguard's face as they took him away. Dead eyes. I knew I'd pay for this one. Maybe I deserved to. A storm was coming that would shake apart everything I'd built.
No! Get away from her! Corvo!
But two steps back, in that the Delilah, most interesting villain in the story of Dishonored, not just the DLC, is just delegated to the last mission of the second chapter of the DLC, with the rest being just you gathering information to reach her, which is just stupendous to me.
I am... What's happening? This is all wrong! What am I becoming? Outsider's blood? Is this some trick? No!
And for the gameplay side, you get a huge leap forward in getting new tools that are non-lethal, like the smoke grenade, but two steps back by getting, instead of looking around for information and exploring the level, you can just buy the information at the beginning of the level, which makes sense story-wise, but it's just not that fun for me. Again, no comments on the level design, it's perfect, especially the mansion at the end of the last mission. It's terrific, it's awesome. Overall, this DLC is a fun little snippet. If you like Dishonored, this is more of Dishonored, but it's a must-play to see this last cutscene.
I have one more surprise for you. I asked for my life. When I killed your empress and took her daughter, something broke inside me. Now I want nothing but to leave this city and fade from the memory of those who reside here. I've had enough killing. So my life is in your hands. Make your choice.
You make an eloquent plea for a man with innocent blood on his hands. It's a shame Corvo doesn't know the real story, isn't it? How in these last days you passed through Coldridge Prison like a shadow, dared the tangles of Dunwall's underworld, and walked out unscathed, outwitted one of the greatest witches in a generation, all with consummate care and skill. How you saved Emily Caldwin, daughter of the Empress, first of her name, and no one will ever know. But how does it end for Dowd, the hired killer, the murderer, the savior of the Empire? It's up to Corvo now.
This DLC for me gets a 3 out of 5, which is pretty good for a DLC, giving the overall game plus the DLC an 11 out of 15. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm sorry it took so long, but Dishonored is one of my favorite games and I wanted to cover it. It's an amazing game and you should play it, but I don't know what will come next on my channel. I will try to upload a video in March, but probably won't be able to. However, I will be, trying to work on big series like my Red Dead Redemption series or my Differences in Detroit later in the year. So probably if I upload a video, it's going to be a short, small video, not one of those big videos, which, like this one maybe. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.
symphony, played over and over until you are free.